Hello, let's talk about EB1A petitions and how many recommendation letters do you need? I'm Loren Locke. I'm an immigration attorney. This actually is really helpful also if you're doing a national interest waiver. So, short answer, there's no magic number and it depends on your circumstances. Specifically, it depends on how many different people is it going to take to tell the story of your career. Have you worked at one place or have you worked at 10 places? Are you 30 or you're 60? That's going to give me an idea of how many letters it's going to take to tell the story from your college days until we file. Also, there is the reality that USCIS, your adjudicator, has limited time and limited patience and limited interest. So there will be some diminishing returns if you are using more letters than you have content. And the longer your filing is, the less of it is going to get read, like percentage wise. There's going to be, you don't know what part they're going to hone in on and pay attention to. But if your filing is 1,000 pages versus 100, each individual page has a lot less chance that anybody's going to look at it at all. How many letters do I use? I would say a lot of my cases come in around 6 to 8. Occasionally it'll be more than 10. If I have somebody that I've done an O1 for a lot of times in a row, a lot of times we will add one letter each time. Either we'll update one of the old letters, so we've got somebody who's covering the newest career details, or we'll use all the same set of old letters and we'll add a new person that can cover that new, most recent content. I don't usually get rid of the old letters. If they're still good, I don't care what date it says on there. Unless I have a new letter from the same person. I won't have 2 letters from the same person in a filing. But it doesn't bother me if the letter was produced for an earlier O1 and now we're doing a later O1, or now we're doing an EB1A. I don't think USCIS really cares about the date of the letter, but it should be dated. Another thing is USCIS does like it better when it is hand signed. So as you know, with the forms, they got to be hand signed. You can't do an electronic signature. Even if you believe it's more secure and more legitimate in your worldview and your company, that's considered a higher evidentiary standard. It's just not true for USCIS. They like the hand signed. Years ago, I used to always make sure I put in the actual pieces of paper from the letter from the recommender, because I liked how, they'd be on their slightly different color and size and of paper and thickness, and it just really felt so rich and authentic and interesting too. Like you get to read somebody's mail. It was great. I don't do that anymore. First of all, I find that your recommenders don't want to put a stamp and mail it, especially if they're from overseas. And even if they're not, it's just not part of a lot of people's work from home lifestyle, or offices just aren't really set up with to mail letters anymore. It's been a big change, right? It's been a sea change. So I don't need the real original letter in the filing. And then when you send it to USCIS, they don't give it to the adjudicator like that anyway. They will scan it in. So you could have your nice piece of paper and it shows like the creases on it, looks really real and legitimate because it is. They're not going to see it anyway. All that detail is going to be lost. What's going to be really, really important is the scan quality. Is the font easy to read? Are the graphics big enough? Do they make sense? Like, is it easy to navigate the filing, even though it's on a screen in black and white, without tabs, without any of the fancy things you can do within a PDF to bookmark it? They're not going to see any of that. They take your paper filing, they scan it in, and then farm it off to an adjudicator. I think this plays into some of what we see in how the cases are adjudicated. We've just lost some of our ability to communicate with the USCIS when we can't give them the real pieces of paper with our highlighting and our tabs and the kind of things that attorneys did 10 or 15 years ago to draw the adjudicator's attention to certain points. Most of that's become obsolete. And having real, authentic pieces of paper signed by your recommender is one of the other things that's become obsolete. But it's still very important to get a high quality scan with a handwritten signature on it. And it's really more about quality over quantity. And it's really more about how many do you need to tell your story of your career. That is much more important than hitting some arbitrary number that you think will satisfy USCIS, because that's just not really the way they look at it. Thanks.